Welcome back, and let's jump right into my favorite sport activity of the morning, which is debunking pro-Palestinian propaganda. My name is Manso, and I'm the guy who likes to talk about all the cow poop that you're thinking, only I say it out loud. So without further ado, let's jump into this video of Dr. Phil interviewing. It's a very frustrating video. I'm just warning you right now. Very frustrating listening to her.
I would go as far to say that it hasn't just been a genocide for the last 18 months. Palestinian people have been facing a genocide since the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948.
This land belonged to the Jewish people long before 1948.
Let's start with this genocide thing. First of all, that's very easy to debunk. The math, it's called science. Population in Gaza is growing, the population in Palestine is growing. When Nazi Germany committed a genocide against the Jews or tried, the population went down. When people are really doing a genocide, for example, like the Muslims in Sudan against the Christians and other minorities, the population is going down because they're killing. When Bashar al-Assad was committing a genocide against his own people, basically, the population was going down because he's killing them by the hundreds of thousands. So easily debunked, but they love to use it because many people just tricked and fall for it.
Because genetic testing is actually illegal in Israel.
Are you saying that Israel is an apartheid state?
Israel's beyond an apartheid state. It's a settler colonial genocidal state.
Really? Then why are there equal rights for Arab citizens in Israel?
There aren't equal rights.
I'm an Arab, I'm living in Israel, and I have every right under the sun like any other citizen in Israel. Jewish, Christian, Arab, Muslim, doesn't matter what. She is just bluntly lying.
There's over 51 discriminatory laws against Palestinian citizens of Israel, and you're excluding millions of Palestinians by even just focusing on them. You're also excluding Palestinians in exile like myself and Palestinians who are in refugee camps scattered across the world in exile, unable to exercise their right of return.
If it's an apartheid state, how are 1.8 million Arab citizens living in Israel? It's 20% of the population. They have full rights. They vote, they work, they run for office, they own property. They have more rights and freedom in Israel than in any Muslim country on the face of the earth. How is that apartheid?
But here's a very interesting question for you. Think about it. Why is it that we always see these female pro-Muslim advocates advocating for Palestine, for Muslim Brotherhood, only in the West? Show me one video of a female Muslim in Afghanistan standing in front of the camera and talking like this, advocating for Islam. Show me. No. Syria, non-existent. Why is that? It's because women have a terrible life living under Muslim countries, in most of them. They're not allowed to go out there. They're slaves for their husbands. But in the West, the whole agenda of Islam to conquer the West, they realize that this is a very good agent to promote radical jihadist ideology like this lady. Why? Because they're feminizing jihad. They're making it look gentle, approachable. There's always an olive tree behind. She's wearing a kafia. She seems very intelligent. She speaks very good English. She's very loved. She always have a picture with her university kind of outfit standing there next to her friends. And they use that. Now, I'm not saying that all of them, but they use women to go and advocate for something that is so against women. That is crazy. She would be having a terrible, miserable life if she was living under a Muslim country. I once had a good friend of mine that was studying medicine, and she came one day and she was very frustrated. And she came and she told me one of the brightest girls in our class is a Muslim, studying to become a doctor. Literally one of the brightest girls in the class. And in Israel, it's very hard to study to become a doctor. And just before she graduated, she left school. And I asked her why. She said, I'm going to marry because my parents found me a husband. And my friend told her, why should you do it now? Why can't you wait and then finish and then go marry? She said, no, but I'm about 26 years old. I'm considered old, and I'm going to be his third wife. And that's a great honor. And my friend's like, what? You're leaving medicine studies to become a doctor, so you became the third or the fourth wife, I don't remember, of some Muslim man who's just gonna have you stay in one house and pump babies for him and probably abuse you. That is crazy. And she said, no, there's nothing I can do about it. This is, in my religion, this is more important than anything else. to become an incubator, basically, for a man that is probably just lazy, smoking a hubbly bubbly and just talking to his friends and just, whistling to other girls in the street. But she is his third or fourth wife, and if she wouldn't do that, she'll be, her family might do something to her. But that just shows you how crazy it is that women like her are going and supporting that rather than standing against it. And how crazy it is that feminists in the West rally behind women like her as if that's their champion, their Jeanne d'Arc who's gonna go and save them and show the world that they're right. How ridiculously crazy that is. But anyway, guys.
But I'm glad that you brought that up, because in 1948, if we're talking about the rule of law, you're quite right. Because in 1948, there was an establishment and it was accepted by Israel, but it was rejected by Palestine. They have had numerous opportunities to have a two-state solution since at least the 1940s.
Why would Palestinians accept giving 51% of our land to 6% of the population that was newly immigrated at the time? Why would anyone accept settler colonialism? We fought against British colonialism. We fought even against against the Ottoman Empire. Why would anybody accept willingly to be colonized?
So what?
Colonized. I love using the word, but here's a funny fact. The only people in the Middle East that are actually colonizing others are the Muslims. And let me explain. Any Muslim country outside of Saudi Arabia, where Islam basically started among the Arabs, have been colonized. That's how they became Muslim. And they were not colonized in a very friendly, nice way. They were butchered, murdered, and made slaves of. Until today, that's the reality there. So the Jews coming back to their own land and trying to live in peace with the Arab neighbors, and then trying to murder them, and because they can't succeed. So basically, the Palestinians are failing colonizers compared to other Muslim countries. They're like the failing kind of not so smart brother who just can't do like they want to do, which is colonize the world. Why are you failing so much, guys? Just a small piece of land. Come on, do it already. So that's a blunt lie, easily debunked. Let's keep going.
So what do you want to happen? What do you want to happen? The Palestinians have rejected a two-state solution on 13 different occasions beginning in 1937 with the Peel Commission, the UN Partition Plan. I can go on up through and including 2020. So what do you want to happen?
I believe that one democratic state where people of all different religions can live together in peace, as they did prior to the establishment of the State of Israel in 1948, where you are not granted supremacy based on your religion. And I believe that the indigenous people of Palestine, should be repatriated.
Supremacy based on your religion, that you're not granted that? I mean, that's basically ABC Islam. The whole idea of Islam, that anyone that is not Muslim is under. If you're not Jewish or Christian, then you should be murdered, killed, or convert. And if you're Jewish or Christian, you're allowed to stay that way, but under very heavy taxation and humiliating rules.
Of siege, blockade, and genocide, this is just a silly argument to bring up to begin with. You cannot have peace without justice.
Okay, and Jews have lived in the land for over 3,000 years, despite conquest and exiles. Modern Israel is legally recognized. They've never abandoned their claim to the land, ever. And there's no independent Palestinian state ever existed before Israel. There was never a Palestinian state ever, before Israel, ever.
Okay, well, Ireland and Italy also didn't exist up until like the 20th century. The concept of nation states is fairly new. Palestinian people existed. And yes, people in that region, there were Jewish people, Christian people. Palestine is a land of, the Abrahamic religions. A lot of those Jewish people actually converted to Islam. If you look at the genealogy of a lot of Palestinians.
Converted to Islam? As if she's saying it is converted out of their own free will. Any Muslim that you see around the world that is outside of Saudi Arabia, his family, I'm probably 95, if not even 99% of them, I'm not making these numbers up, I'm very serious about it, is a Muslim today because his family was forced to convert or butchered and enslaved or, sexually assaulted. I want to use other words so I don't get canceled, by Muslim colonialism. Islam have made itself such a appealing religion to others by force and by humiliation, not by being a great religion that you want to join. Many people that join Christianity actually join because it made their life better. That's literally, if you study the textbook of Christianity, it is a very peaceful religion. So yes, the church did very terrible things in the name, but that was humans taking advantage of a religion for human kind of, political gains and etc. But Christianity was a very peaceful religion, and basically you just had to pray and to get baptized and to really believe, and then you become Christian. In Islam, you see, they wanna look like they're a very appealing religion, but no one really wanna join them out of free will, because what kind of a woman would want to live in that very degrading mentality, have to be fully covered, have no rights, and is literally a sex slave or husband? Which children would want to live in this mentality that you have so much family pressure, you're not allowed to think outside the box, science is forbidden, and they can beat you up, there's no children right, gay people, why was it created for Palestine? These guys are crazy. Why would they want to live in that society? So there's so many minus to becoming a Muslim if you're a person who likes freedom. So to make it appealing, they basically do it by force. We'll kill you if you don't convert. If you're Jewish or Christians, you must convert or we're going to humiliate you. But what happened is when people join, they take pride. See, people like us. We're a very fast-growing religion. You're a fast-growing religion because you're doing it by force, by genocidal, colonizing attempt. That's a fact. She is just lying. There's actually a very interesting reason that people don't understand because it goes over their head. You see, for Islam to conquer the world, they basically started this new religion, and they based the foundation of it on Judaism and Christianity. So in one aspect, they don't want to eliminate them because it's going to be theologically a bit hard to explain. If God gave them the truth, why should we kill them all right now? But there's another reason for that. Islam takes a lot of joy and pride in humiliating other religion. That's proper textbook Islam. And for them to show you that, hey, see, even the Jews and the Christians are converting to Islam right now. That shows you how great is Islam. But if Islam is so great, then why are there so many rules in Islam that force conversion by punishment, by death, by heavy taxation, basically making it insufferable to live under Islam because it's so humiliating, and you can never have peace. You have heavy taxations, your children can be taken as slaves, and etc. and etc. You can't convert anyone. So that humiliating slave basically mentality life that they want to impose on others will force them to convert to Islam. So if Islam is so appealing, why do they need to use so many violent and humiliating rules to convert people? And to come and say that if Israel was run by the Muslims, by Palestinians, then life will be peaceful? What is she basing that on? What kind of a fact? There's so much overwhelming facts showing so many failing Muslim countries where Sharia law is implemented, and it just destroys that place, and it just kills anyone that is not Muslim. And once they're done with anyone that is not Muslim, they start killing each other. So it's a blunt lie, complete blunt lie, and I doubted that she doesn't know that. That's what I mean. She is not a useful idiot. She is an agent that activates useful idiots. So let's keep going.
Be given the right of return, as an option. I believe that there must be reparations for the Palestinian people who've lost their land, and those who wish to live peacefully among their neighbors, who wish to be part of the Palestinian nation building project, can continue to do so.
So that is a blunt lie that they like to use against Western people because they want to make you feel as if they're the victims, because they know that that works on the West. But it should not work on you. You should be educated so you know how to face these lies.
We even have Jewish people in my group within our lifetime. So,
how many Jews live in Gaza now?
Well, if you're going to bring that up, Israel is actually the one who decided to withdraw their population. So,
what? Withdraw their population because the Jews were living so peacefully in Gaza until Israel came and withdrew it and denied the Palestinians, the Gazans, the right to let the Jews live peacefully and show the world what a bunch of peaceful people they are. Are you crazy? I served in Gaza before this engagement. I'm talking one of the most nicest Israelis I've ever met. People try to make them look violent and aggressive. No, they were peaceful, they were beautiful, they were very kind, they loved working their land, they were very innovative, they had a lot of science and technology and agriculture, and they were very, very friendly and hospitable. The reason that me and my friends had to be there with the special forces, with the army, was to defend them because her friends in Gaza wanted to go and murder them day in, day out. I'm talking I was being shot at about 1 RPG per day and about 3 sniper bullets per day on me, my friends, our stations, our jeep. That was like the statistics, the average by her friends. And we were taking all that fire as we fight them back because we were defending these evil Zionist colonizers that were living there from her friends who came to murder them. And then Israel, in hope to achieve peace, which was a terrible mistake, and we all said it back then, said, you know what, let's take all the Jewish people that are living in these settlements, we take them out and we give it to the Gazans, and maybe hopefully they'll finally have peace. And what happened? October 7. That's what happened. So she's just full of mumbo jumbo lies. It's unbelievable. Some of you might come and say, why are we even giving a platform to people like this to come and speak? You know, it's very frustrating to listen to them. Actually, there was a very funny comment that was left in one of my YouTubes when I was arguing with this Lebanese, Druze, American jihadist, Hezbollah supporter. A guy by the name of Blue Moon 98 came and basically he gave me a super thanks on my video and he said, frustration fee. And that cracked me up. So first of all, thank you, Blue Moon. That was very generous of you. Second of all, yes, it was very frustrating talking to that numbskull. But it's important because it's important to expose them. Because if you don't let them talk, what happens is they go relentlessly teaching that in colleges, campuses all around the world to people that have no clue what's happening, and they play on their emotions, and they end up, we saw what happened right now, universities, you know, backed up by Qatari money and I don't know what, they end up infiltrating every government in the West, every Christian nation, every university, and shift them to become anti-Semites and Jew-hating and Israel-hating and all kind of lies that they like to pump. So it's important to face them, frustrating as it is. Otherwise, I would not be sharing this video with you. But it's important to understand and to be able to debunk all their lies. Kodus, I take my hat off to Dr. Phil for keeping his composure and talking to this numbskull. So frustrating as it might be, and trust me, it can be very frustrating listening to so much nonsense to people who are just purely immune to logic or facts, or choose to be immune to logic or fact. They have a sinister agenda. It is very important that we expose them, and that is why I chose to show you this video and to talk about it, to help debunk this nonsense. And like I said, I call it my favorite morning sport activity, debunking pro-Palestine propaganda. So until then, guys, don't do anything stupid in general. Just don't do anything that I would do. See you next time.